Do you struggle with content creation, marketing, editing, or publishing? Having the right tools in your business tool suite can make all the difference in helping you stay more organized, work more efficiently, and run things more smoothly. So in this video, I'm sharing my personal business tool suite and content tool suite that I cannot live without. Welcome back to my channel, Empire Builders, and if you're new here, my name is Haley Dale, a content and sales funnel strategist helping you create more purposeful, productive, and yes, profitable content too. So if that sounds like what you're looking for, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below this video for more value-packed videos just like this one every single Monday. I love me some online tools. In fact, I am the first to admit I have a little bit of an AppSumo addiction that I need to keep in check, work really hard to keep in check. And I work best when I have really clearly defined workflows with the tools all lined up that I'm going to use to really deliver and follow through on those workflows. So whenever I am feeling like a tool isn't working, or maybe there's like some kind of tool that might be better in my workflow, I am a big experimenter because I'm also not somebody to take someone else's word that a tool is the bee's knees. I need to test it and experiment it with it myself. So with that said, I encourage you, any of the tools that I'm recommending, try them yourself. Try them out. If they're not right for you, there is a tool out there. The thing is, there is no perfect tool out there. So I'm going to just preface this by saying that there's no holy grail of tools out there. However, there are tools that work best with your brain and how you like to work and your style of working. So make sure to take some time to experiment and don't just take my word for it that these tools are the ones for you, just like I would never take anyone else's word that the tools that they recommend are perfect fits for me too. So I have a blog post link below this video. So if you want any links to anything or want to learn a bit more about the tools that I'm going to be recommending, you can click on that link at the very top of the description below this video and go and check that out. I will also put some honorable mentions in this video so you can link them, find the links for them directly down there as well. And when it came time to creating this video, and this is something that I'm asked for a lot, what mic do I use, or what planning tools do I use? And so I wanted to come up with this list of tools, this list of resources, and of course I'm doing this in 2021. So I'll try to do this more regularly than waiting 3 years because things do change frequently. So I put together this video and I'm organizing it into the types of tasks that I do. So I have inspiration and ideas, tools I use for content planning, content creation, content promotion. So I'm going to be breaking it down by sections here. We are so full of incredible ideas. In fact, in my 2021 online business marketing survey, I asked business owners, we had 425 people take the survey from varying degrees of monthly sale revenue amounts. And what I was curious and learning more about is how do businesses at different levels, designated by different monthly sales amounts, how do they approach content differently? And one of the surprising things when I asked them, what is the number one roadblock holding you back from content and content marketing? What is the number one thing standing in your way? And 30% of the entire group, it was the number one option for all sales, monthly sales levels, was that I have too many ideas and I'm trying to do too many things. So as entrepreneurs, we are idea folk. We love coming up with ideas. And so one of the keys for success here, and for myself as well, is coming up with a strategy or coming up with a system for capturing and cataloging and using those ideas so I make sure that I don't lose them and can come back and use them when I'm ready for them, but making sure they're in one spot. So some of the tools I use here are, I think about my different collection points. So where am I coming across inspiration? So for me, I have a board set up in Pinterest. So if I see anything I want to learn more about, I save it there. I'm saving bookmarks. I'm adding things to Evernote. I'm emailing myself, or I have a folder in my email inbox. But what I start with in the system is I have a list of what are all those typical collection points and easy links to go there. And then once a week or once a month, if I'm really busy, I will go through all of those collection points and clear them all out. And I move them into Asana, into organized. I have like a Kanban board on there. You can also use Trello for this, where I categorize the ideas. So is this a blog? Is this an idea for a potential launch? Is this a funnel idea? Is this a freebie or blog post idea? or a marketing experiment that I want to try. So making a point to go through all those collection points, but having somewhere that you save them. So the tool I use for that is Asana. And the main reason I use that one is because I'm in Asana every single day running my agency with my team. So Asana is the name of the game for me. The second thing, because I'm somebody who like my computer is constantly, I'm needing to like hard restart it because I have so many tabs open and it just like drives down how well my computer and how fast things work, is finding a good tab manager. So the one that I like is called Workona. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but it is a great way of organizing your tabs into groups. It looks a little something like this, where you can have different workstations and you can easily switch between your different collection of links. So you're not having all of those links open all of the time and can easily switch between them. Moving on to my next tool type and my next phase of my content process is content planning. So I am somebody who loves to plan. I am obsessed with planners. I've said it before where I talked about like creating my own planner, which I do in a lot of cases, but I still love the pretty paper planner. In fact, I have three, oh gosh, I'm like throwing things all over the place. I have 3 or 4 of them within reach for different purposes. I love me a good planner. So I am somebody, knowing how much I love planning, I need to keep that in check a little bit. So I lovingly call my community, because they have also told me how much they love planning. They love planning a lot more than action. So I need to plan without falling into the trap of procrastinating, meaning that I'm planning so much that I'm not prioritizing action. So with that said, I like to have a healthy balance when it comes to my content planning process and make sure that I'm putting a time limit or a cap on it. So with that being said, in our 2021 online business marketing survey, one of the stats that stood out to me, and I'll put a link to that blog post below in case you want to check any of these out, because I find like one of the major problems with those big stat surveys that are put out is it's usually like big corporations and agencies rather than the online business owners like you or I. And so the stats aren't always applicable to what we're actually, the budgets we're working with and the time budgets we're working with. And like most of us are solopreneurs or maybe have a couple of contractors on our team. So what I loved about this survey was getting to create a survey for online business owners by online business owners so that we can create some really usable stats. But one of the stats that really stood out to me is that businesses, because like I said, this survey was all about figuring out how businesses at different levels, measured by their monthly sales amount, approach content differently. And one of the things that stood out to me in those stats was that businesses that make more in monthly revenue spend as much time planning their content as they do creating it. So I found that incredibly interesting. So more intentional about their content or more strategy behind it. Yeah, it's interesting to think about why, but that stood out to me. So when it comes to my own content planning, the tools that I use, most of my tools, like I've talked about before, I make my own planners. So most of my planning tools are my own. So I use the Content Empire Planner. It's a planner that I sell. And the reason why I created it is because it's what I needed to manage my own content strategy. So I'm somebody who likes to write paper and pen, or usually like iPad and Apple Pencil. The app I use is NoteShelf 2. It allows you to import PDFs and write all over them and export them page by page or the entire thing. So it's like where I give feedback to my team. It's where I come up with my plan. So the Content Empire Planner is what I use, and I use it in NoteShelf 2. And then we take that plan and we move it into Asana, into our editorial calendar board. So Content Empire Planner, NoteShelf 2, and Asana are the main tools that I'm using. The next category of tools that I have is content outlining. So most of my time in content creation is spent outlining or creating a really good free writing. So free writing is one of the ways my perfectionist self can actually get a blog post out in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I have it down to a science now, and it's all about this free writing. So the more time I spend free writing and outlining, the less time I need to spend actually writing. It's more of a matter of cleanup. And when I just free write, that means that I'm like coming up with a list of questions and answering those questions, but I'm not like writing to write it perfect. I'm writing just to get my thoughts and ideas out and simply answering those questions. So it takes a lot of the pressure off, and I'm able to write a lot very quickly. So my tools is I use my own free writing tool template. Here's what it looks like. I also use Otter. So if I'm like sick of typing, or in our agency, we create content for people, their regular content, and we will use a process called content interviews, but you can also do it for yourself. So part of the way that free writing works, and my approach to it, is to come up with a list of questions that the post has to answer and then simply answer those questions. So you don't necessarily need to even write it. You can also open up Otter and just speak the questions, have it transcribed, and then you have your draft there to clean up. We use Google Docs for all of our content creation. So Google Docs or spreadsheets, or mostly Google Docs for this part of the process. The next phase of tools, the next type of tools is content creation. So even though we've written, even though we've planned it, there's no getting away from the actual creation. And when I think about creation, I'm thinking about finishing the post. So I do that in Google Docs where I write our posts. If I am recording, I'm going to share my recording toolkit and the tools that I use as well. But the tools that I use for the actual writing, and the tools that we use beyond the tools like physical ones, is like Google Doc. I use an app called Be Focus Pro. So I like to set myself a time limit. So I will set a 25-minute time limit, take my free writing and clean it up. And that's just a way for me to get that done. We use Canva for the majority of our graphics. So don't get me wrong, I am a huge fan of Adobe, and talk to me like from a few years ago, and I was a purist when it came to Adobe. But Canva has made so many improvements over the last few years. They are fantastic and they're so easy and quick to use. So beyond that, for the stock photos, I use a lot of stock photos. We use a lot of custom photography too. But when it comes to stock photos, the main ones that I'm using is Shebold Stock. It's my favorite stock photo site. It's run by Jasmine Hunt, and she is incredible, and all of her stock photos are super colorful and bright. Most of the stock photos I find out there are so neutral, and that's great and that's relaxing, but I also find it a little boring, and I want bright colors. And so Jasmine Hunt has Shebold Stock, which I cannot recommend enough. I'll put a link below. Another good one is Adobe Stock. I'll pull some images from there as well because they're pretty affordable. And then also Styled Stock Society is another good membership for stock photos. Perfect. All right, so when it comes to actually recording my videos, because for my content, I have written blog posts, but I also have video versions of them as well. And that's something new that we're going back and adding to our older blog posts. So for the actual recording itself, I use the Logitech Brio 4K Ultra HD webcam. Super easy to use. I don't understand a darn thing about it, but my husband says it's really good. I'll put a link below, and I've been very happy with it when it comes to editing the videos. For the actual recording itself, I use OBS, which is a free tool that you can use. I find it super, super easy. For my microphone, I use the Shure MV7 USB podcast microphone. You can see it here. I really like it. It's also a condenser mic, so it gets rid of some background noise where sometimes if I have little birdies in my backyard, you can hear them in the video. So it's a great way to cut out that extra noise. That's a really good one. I'll put it link below here. For my light, I just use the newer camera video lighting kit, 18 inches round. I am lucky to have my desk right in front of a window, so I have a lot of natural light as well, but I'll put a link there in case you want to check that out too. And then that's pretty much it, all that I use for recording and creating my content. Now, when it comes to editing, I really believe that the magic is in the editing. So for the tools I use for editing, I use text to speech. So making sure that my accessibility is turned on in Chrome, where I can just highlight everything and have it read out loud. Because some of the times when I'm reading things, I don't always notice if there are errors or if things sound weird. So hearing it read to me out loud, I'll notice things a lot more. I also use Grammarly. So run everything through Grammarly, have it turned on in my browser. That's a great way to catch some errors. And then for the video editing itself, we used a script. This was probably my favorite tool discovery of 2020. It's a really easy way to create a transcript, and then you can edit and clean up the transcript, which also makes changes to the video. So it's a great way to edit and have the transcript at the same time. And then honestly, another set of eyes. So if you've been staring at the same piece of content, rope somebody else in to read it over for you, because they'll always notice something that you do not. The third to last category for my tool type is publishing. So getting it out there. Like I mentioned, I do videos and I do written blog posts. So we use WordPress, Divi, because it's just so flexible is the theme that we use. I also use Lead Pages for most of my lead pages and any of those kind of pop-up boxes for the different freebies that you can download. And then ConvertKit. So I integrate that with ConvertKit. I've used pretty much every email service provider out there, and I'm very happy with some of the extra functionality that ConvertKit has now that they have that visual workflow builder, which is an essential piece to me. So I'm very happy over at Convert. Let's talk promotion. When it comes to social media schedulers, I get a ton of questions about this. And my rule of thumb is that for every hour you spend creating a piece of content, I want you spending an hour promoting that piece of content. And sometimes it can be a little bit less if you're really fine-tuned on your systems. It doesn't take us very much time at all to promote our content because we have it like down to a science, which leads me to why I use CoSchedule as my social media scheduler. And that's because it has bulk scheduling. So it allows you to upload CSVs instead of scheduling everything manually, which is a huge time saver. We also use Tailwind for our Pinterest scheduling. So another one that I love very much. Final category here, other honorable mentions, not necessarily content related, but I couldn't do business without them, is Dubsado. I use that for managing all my agency clients, sending out contracts, even sending out contracts for contractors and people on my team. Dubsado is the name of the game for that. I use LastPass, which I don't remember a single password because everything is in LastPass. And it's also a great and easy way to share things with team members, or if you need to get somebody's help on something, it's just a really great, secure way of managing your passwords. And the final one that I use is Funnelytics. So because I'm a funnel agency, I am constantly mapping out sales funnels, and Funnelytics makes it very easy to do. And I like the fact that you can put in the URL for the opt-in page or the blog page in the funnel and click refresh, and it'll put a little thumbnail of that. So it's a little, I just like making really colorful and bright funnel maps. And that's a great way to customize it. And it's a fun little feature that I like to use when I'm mapping out sales funnels. So I've shown you my tools. Now show me yours. Let me know in the comment, what are your favorite content or business tools? And if you want more videos like this one, let me know. So let me know in the comments, click on the next video on your screen, and make sure to subscribe for more videos. I drop a new video every single Monday.